Alright guys, just a quick intro to this before we start. I thought it would be a good idea to start doing these commentaries to old videos that I did back in the day when I used to do YouTube full time, all the time, every day, lived and breathed doing these YouTube videos, especially game reviews. You'll notice that it says Game by Night Reviews. That was my original channel's name, and before its deletion in 2015 or whatever. But anyway, guys, I thought it'd be fun to make these commentary videos of what it took to make these videos and just reacting to how far maybe production has come since then. And anyway, and I thought it would be also a great transition because if you like the commentary for the video, you can always go to my other channel, Retro or Die, and see the actual review and all of its entirety. Alright guys, I hope you enjoy. Now let's jump into it. Good old, look at that old ass logo. I was so proud of that logo when I first made that. Now this was at my dad's house. I had just gotten off work, and you can still see like that. There's me in my work clothes. I was working for a medical company at the time, and yeah, I just gotten off work. Like I said, I worked crazy hours, and then I came home to make more YouTube videos or work more on the side. This paper right here was an idea I came up with at the last minute, where I took a red marker and I wrote that right there to make it look like blood. And I thought it was so funny or cool at the time, but when you look at it closely, you can actually see the, oh god, it's horrible green screening. You can see the red marker on the counter. Now that is my dad right there. I got him to do this because he's about as big of a ham as I am when it comes to the video. And you can see as I'm walking, I look like I'm hunched over. And people that know me in real life are like, why do you look like that? I'm like, well, I was trying to make it look like Jason was taller than me, because in traditional movies, he is taller. This is my favorite scene right here where he pulls it. This is my favorite shot I did, is where he pulls it out of his pocket and hands me the game. Like, I'm worthy to play this game now. Good old cheesy ass acting and fucked up hair. Man, that green screening was bad. Actually, it wasn't because the green screen was bad. I think it's probably because of the lighting. But yeah, this was all done in one night at my dad's house. And I thought it was going to be the greatest video I ever did. And at that time, I was incredibly proud of it. It's so funny. You can... This fucking video. And this game, you know, even though I rated it bad as far as game mechanics and stuff go, it's actually like a classic for me that I love as a kid. And I thought this was really cool that I put this whole movie montage thing in there. This video was actually, when I first came out with it on the Game by Night Reviews channel, it was picked up by RetroWare TV. And that was one of my prouder moments being on YouTube originally.
Upon the release of the game, this cult slasher was already on his 8th installment of the film.
I like to break up all of my game reviews like it's a miniature history lesson of the game, as well as making the game be the star of the review. You know, I don't usually film myself like Angry Joe or other reviewers do, where they're in front of the camera talking about the game the whole time. The skits, though, I love to do those.
Most of the films do. A group of camp counselors watching over the children, and what should be...
I also recorded most of the gameplay of this while I think I was at my dad's house, too. The way I used to do YouTube was crazy. I used to spend all night and all half the morning making these videos just to stay up, and when I had work in an hour, just to keep editing the video. And I was doing that for over a year at the time. Not a very healthy decision.
In the aspect that almost all of the Friday the 13th films have an identical plot for the most part, which is young adults fighting to destroy Jason. You can control one of the 6 counselors at a time, each with a varying ability when it comes to walking speed, jumping ability, and projectile speed. The ultimate objective of the game is to survive for 3 days and 3 nights, and destroy Jason, all the while you attempt to save the campers, fellow counselors.
I never had the manual for the game. I must have gotten lost or something when I was a kid, but I remember I was playing this game, and I was like, what am I supposed to be doing here? You know, it doesn't ever give you a direction in the main game of what you're supposed to do. That's why manuals were so important back then. Something that a lot of games nowadays don't give a flying F about.
There are 3 enemies in the game, not including Jason or Mrs. Voorhees. I
always like to point out how animals in games kill people, which are so it's like a common theme for a lot of NES games. Crows and crap like that. Why are animals always the go-to generic move? I don't know. I think I even point out that Rambo had the killer flamingo in this game.
Wolves I can see being a legitimate enemy because you're running through the woods.
The wolves look more like giant rats.
A crow has to be one of the lamest enemies I've seen since the killer flamingos in the Rambo game.
That's true. Killer flamingos is so fucking stupid.
You know, this game kind of sucks.
I like how we ended up back at my dad's house randomly. This part. We look at each other at the perfect time. That's great.
While you explore the camp, the game will be a 2D side-scroller resembling Zelda 2 or Rambo. Then the design will change once you explore a cabin or cave, turning into a third-person over-the-shoulder aspect. When you encounter Jason, the fights are very much reminiscent of Punch-Out, only with axes and pitchforks thrown in. Jason's patterns can be very easy to memorize, so he will be no problem beating.
Well, Jason is no problem beating if you have the fast character, unless you have one of the slow-ass characters like Paul. Paul was slow as fuck.
Realize what you're doing. Why is this? Because the game gives you absolutely no directions on what to do. It gives you an aggressive shove out to take on the horrors of Crystal Lake, only equipped with rocks to throw. On a scale of 1 to 10, I give
this part right here where Jason's throwing the axes at you is way harder than the part where he's in the cabin. Just because of how his patterns are so sporadic. I like how that guy just fell right on his face.
And the soundtrack is horrible.
Yeah, the soundtrack for this game is pretty bad. It's probably the worst part about this entire game is how it's looping and looping and looping over and over again. And the alarm. Yeah.
The aspect I do like about the game is that it's very trial and error based. This can keep the challenge fresh once you get the game's mechanics locked down, and it's great for speedruns.
It's kind of sad when you gotta say the greatest attribute of the game is it's good for speedruns.
If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next game review.
And the good old credit scene. I was so proud of this at the time. I thought this was so funny and so cool. I mean, a lot of people tell me that they like this review because of the skit and how cheesy and corny it is. But then I give my dad his own little blooper reel right here. It's pretty funny. I gotta say, even after watching it today, it's still funny as hell. Not bad. Not bad at all. Well, anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you'd like to see me do more commentaries of my old videos that I made, videos that have still never been re-uploaded to the channel since its deletion, such as like the Rambo game, Nightmare on Elm Street, things like that. I made all these videos and they still have not gotten uploaded. What the fuck is gotten? Anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed this, and again, if you want to see the review in its entirety, you can find it on my Retro or Die channel. Thanks for checking this out, and I'm looking forward to seeing your comments. Have a good night.